Welcome to the World Builders Anvil, episode 209. Today's episode, Marcus and the Jewels of Daivvavaahra, part 3. Don't know where to start building your fantasy world?
Do you need more? Does it make sense?
Forget any worries and become a crafter of imagination.
This is the place where we will prime your mind.
Now, it's time to heat up the forge.
Break out the mithril ingots and hammer.
Welcome to the World Builders Anvil. I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And I'm Michael Miller.
Let's sup from the mug of Java and build. Welcome back. As always, my name is Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And I am Michael Miller.
We can't say why. We can't get past the censors if we say why.
Yeah, we can say why. I am now working out like 4 to 5 times a week. And just before the show this morning, Sarah and I went to our morning workout. It's Saturday we're recording. And to add fun to that, we worked out last night. So Friday night we went for a workout. And last night I barely slept. I just did not sleep well. So my body didn't get the appropriate rest. And then we got up and went to the gym again this morning. And we don't go to we don't go to a gym. We go to a fitness studio. And the guy kicks our butts.
Okay, raising my hand here. What the heck is a fitness studio, and why the hell is that different than a gym?
So in a gym, like a big box gym, generally you're going to have machines and weights and I want to say like aerobic workout equipment. You know, like your cardiovascular
machines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to have like Stairmasters, treadmills, that sort of thing. In a fitness studio, one, they're physically smaller. So like our class this morning was huge and there was like 17 people. So that's like full, barely enough room to move around. And the equipment is like TRX straps, kettlebells, medicine balls, yoga mats, and he's got rings hanging from the ceiling, and your own body weight. Most of what you're doing, you're using your own body weight as a resistance to whatever exercise you're doing. So it's work. Like he really works. Like it's a lot of what we've been doing has been.
So we're more calisthenic focused.
No, more strength training. He does do stuff. I mean, well, yes, but they're more like plyometrics than they are like some of the more like aerobic and cardiovascular ones you might be more accustomed to. So there'll be like dynamic exercises where you're not just working your legs, you're doing your legs, your arm, your chest, your back all at the same time. So it's real tiring.
It's the high intensive form of calisthenics.
Yeah, it's
PX 9000.
Yeah, it's no joke. So we just got back to that kind of working because we used to work out like this all years ago, and we've gotten away from it. So now,
so feel-wise, it's more like going to like a martial arts studio than a gym, essessentially, just because it's like a class.
Yes.
Or I guess gyms do have classroom type of stuff too.
Yeah. So for since New Year's and probably until the summer, I have quit drinking, severely reduced my sugar intake. I am not eating bread except like teeny bits. Like we'll do like burritos. So like a burrito wrap, sure, but I'm not gonna buy like ciabatta rolls for burgers like we used to. So yeah, super diet change, low sugar intake, like low to no carbs, no more alcohol, and working out 4 to 5 times a week. So I'm gonna fit into a bikini this summer. It'll be bikini summer. Is the goal.
Yeah, no, I always wear bikinis. I find them very comfortable.
I shudder to imagine what you in a bikini would look like. Now you've got me imagining, and it's not a happy morning thought. So anyway,
back to Daivvavaahra.
This morning we are back to Marcus and the funkiest bunch of Daivvavaahrian jewel thieves. And that's
right.
That is the title. If you have not been paying attention, this is a brief modified tabletop series that we're doing to expose more of Jeff's world to the listeners in anticipation for the upcoming novel. And you were kind of modified it so it wouldn't be annoying to listen to, so it'll be still fun and engaging to listen to. If you have been listening, then you know that we have built all kinds of things, and we've had episodes where we have told you what we have built, and then in the role-playing episodes, we've actually gotten to explore the things that we've built.
You know, the irony is we always do it backwards to how you hear it.
Right. So you're going to hear this episode first, and the next episode you're going to hear what the build for things that occurred in this episode. But we actually already recorded that episode, so we know what we built, and you'll know what we built after listening to this, and then after listening to the next. It's very confusing, and there's time travel involved. Don't worry about it.
And the weirdest time travel part is in the last episode we might have talked about the potential of me having a child, but I did not have a child in episode 210. However, here in episode 209, my son has been born now, and so talk about time travel.
Yeah, that's a great. That's fantastic. Yeah, 209. Eric was not born, but Eric is born here in 209.
But not in 210, so don't wait the next episode to listen.
I can't remember if we mentioned that in 210.
I don't remember because I hope we
did.
I hope we did because that's funny. You know, but yes, I've not slept. I think I've slept 5 hours one time since today is someday during January, and it was before Christmas was the last time I had 5 hours of sleep or more in one shot. So, hey, welcome to the show.
Okay. I don't remember exactly where we were.
I do.
You have notes? Excellent. Go for it.
So essentially, a brief summary is Marcus and his friend Gregor have been working on this idea of stealing the jewels of Daivvavaahra from a merchant who's come to town. And along the path, they've picked up some friends. This lady called Am, who's going to help them out in their team. This guy, Bruno, who's going to make a key for them out of a bone. Unfortunately, they don't have the bone they need. It doesn't take just any bone. He wants the bone of old King Hermann. And old King Hermann's bone is in a crypt, which we built, I think, a couple months ago at this point, episode-wise. The links to all this will be in the show notes. And essentially, the bone is in a crypt. And the crypt is on the side of a mountain, and you guys were actually going out of town to come around on top of the hill from the non-cliff side to sort of avoid all of the guards at the bottom.
Are we? Is that physically where we are at this point, or is that just where we're headed?
I think we're going to pick up with you at the top of the cliff in a safe position,
and you'll
surrounded by guards with spears,
and you'll grant us the appropriate gear.
Yes.
I'd rather not be surrounded by guards with spears just yet at the top of a cliff.
Oh, you don't want, with your backs to the cliff? You don't want to start there?
No.
We'll do it right before the guard part.
Can we start before they surround us, like before they're aware of us?
Oh,
would be great. Yeah.
So like the stabby motion when I was going to pick up is a little too. You'd want to go a little before that.
I think I want to go where we actually have a chance of survival as opposed to immediate death. Like, give me a small amount of
they could miss. There's
death.
rolls that have to go. They could all miss, and there's only 80 of them.
and then you have to save roll on all 80.
Dodge.
Oh, speaking of save rolls, I just started Skyrim again. I got the new Skyrim on Xbox One and modded the heck out of it. And
isn't it a lot of fun? I still have fun playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
I do. At some point I might get the VR just to play Skyrim on the VR. Just a different way to do it.
The VR makes me want to buy a PlayStation. It really does.
I have the PlayStation. I don't have the VR though. So
if only for Skyrim, I am tempted. But
it's funny how after all the years, Skyrim, as buggy as it was, can still sell consoles.
Yeah. Seriously. Anyway, that's enough Skyrim.
Okay.
I think, we're going to tie off and rope down. I think that's our move. I think the first thing that...
so let me envision this a bit for the people who don't know. We're essentially at the top of a hill because essentially the crypt are these tombs that are built along or along a cliffside, basically facing the city. And so they're on top of the hill where it's kind of grassy. There's nothing really up here at all. Somewhere near the middle of the cliff, obviously.
Well,
as the entrance to King
let's be
Hermann's
clear.
Grave.
You're saying hill and you're saying cliff. What we're implying here is that there is a way to walk up the long way around up a hill that's a gentle walk to get to the top of the cliff. But once you're up there, it is a cliff. Like how high would you say from the top of the cliff edge to the very bottom?
It's probably about, I'd say, 400 feet.
Yeah.
So
we're talking
this isn't
super
your
cliff.
biggest cliff, but this is a pretty big cliff. And really what happened
that's huge. 400
was
feet? That's gigantic.
at the apex, but it's a hill. So like they literally like dug a half a hill out
I know.
to form this cliff. Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying, just to give everyone a sense of scale,
yes.
400
it's
feet
a decent size,
is
yes.
huge. Mm-hmm. 40 feet will kill a man.
Oh, yes. No, this is way more than killable.
Yeah.
It's somewhere about 200 feet below them. Now, originally, there were pathways that would lacerate up this hillside or up the cliffside because it's slightly staggered. It's not a pure cliff. So there was a path that slowly winds up that you could follow up. It's very, very sheer when you're not on those, though. And essentially the part where he's at is above it altogether. And so there's nothing really near the top. He has to come down a good solid 50 feet to get to the first path.
So
it's sort of really, it's more of a step cliff because this was sort of dug out from the hillside about halfway down. But the thing is, it's a very narrow. It's like the pathways were originally only about a foot wide, and they've worn down over time because this is not maintained. Because the current culture who controls the area don't use the cliffs. So they use a base of the cliffs for burial, and they've only started doing that recently. So a lot of it's degraded and broken down. So there's kind of little steps, but at most they're a foot wide, and most of those have washed away, so they're not even really that thick, and you can't walk the path anymore.
All right, now can I ask my question? Because you just droning on and on about steps. Anyway, if it's a 400-foot cliff, and this is something that would have been obvious, at least not in exact measurement, but in scale, there's no way or little way that we would have carried up 400 feet worth of rope.
No.
So there's no
way
the thing is,
we're roping the biggest
all
section
the way
you
down.
have to, no. The biggest section you have to go at one time is 50 feet because there are those.
Which is still a huge section
Which is still a huge section, and you have a good solid foot typically to be able to land on at the bottom of the 50 feet. So yeah, you don't have a 400-foot rope. And you're not going to want to do traditional cliff gear because even back in these days, people could tie themselves off. That's not necessarily a new idea. But the problem is hammering something into stone right now would be very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking is, so I guess our plan will be to try to get back up the way we came. Okay. So do we have some sort of at the extreme least, you can tie something around your waist as a pseudo harness. So that way, if I lose my grip, I'm not going to plummet to my death. So one rope down.
I'm gonna roll my knot skill. Ooh. Okay.
I actually rolled really good on that. I rolled an 8.
Okay.
So
it appears safe.
Looks clear. I thought you said it was clear. I said it looks clear. Well, how's it look now? Looks clear. Okay, so let's have at it then. The first thing I want to do is make sure there's no junky debris around our ropes and around the cliff edge for us to accidentally knock off to alert the guards below. So if there's little bits of debris and rock, I want to take the time to clear that by hand and get it away from the edge and just throw it back so that when the rope moves and when we move and whatever, it's not going to fall.
Well, now the good news is the guards are really only concerned about the base of the hill. So in your approach to going up here, the guards, even if they hear you, might not care too much.
Well, I know, but if I drop a stone on him,
on one of their heads and kill them, that would annoy them. So you guys sort of clean up the brush the best you can. And who's going down first?
Well, I'm the star of the show, so of course.
Okay. So of course you'll go first. Do you have any sort of climbing skill that you might want to roll upon?
I think we just have to do a generic roll. I don't know that I took a climb. I think we had this would be the generic thing for all physical rolls. Ooh, 11, not bad.
Not bad. Okay, and you have a rope on you to help steady you. It's,
right.
Which ups your default. So
how about this actually? How about I climb down on the one rope, and the rope that I'm secured to, which would be a second rope. He just helps lower me down so that if I start to lose it, so
exactly.
He stays up. Yeah. So he stays up. I do all the work.
Fair enough. And then he could lift you back up, which will make getting up a lot easier.
Exactly.
Sounds like a good plan to me because of course you guys had plotted this out already.
And if I'm gonna leave the rope on me when I go into the tomb. So if I get stuck in a trap or whatever, I'll just tug on it a bunch, and he's going to have to calm down if that should occur.
Okay.
It's okay. I'm climbing down the mountain, the cliff.
All right. So
the tombs.
You climb the tombs. So you slowly climb down. It takes you several minutes to go 50 feet. You're not rushing it. Your dagger falls out and impales one of the guards in the eye socket, and they all see exactly where it came from, which helps the archers out.
I didn't tell you that I was carrying 16 daggers. They are all dead. I just dropped them. I just let gravity do its job.
Okay, well, all the guards are dead. That makes this a lot easier.
Look, make all the noise you want. You're fine.
you
la
guys,
la la, robbing the tomb, la 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 la.
If you only had that 17th one for that witness, you would have been perfectly gotten away with it too. Wasn't for that screwy dog. So you lower yourself down and you to about 50 feet. Now there's pathways that you can take to get down to the actual King's Tomb from here. So you can do that, but the problem is that's another about 100 feet down from where you are. So you could try and take the paths, which are at points broken. I don't think your rope's necessarily long enough to go all the way down. I was just thinking, because remember, you're just getting
roll for that.
Yep.
Rope's not long enough.
Yeah.
I just rolled a 14. So I'm going to be going into the danger zone once I hit the path.
Yep. So you get down to the path. So you get down to the path, but you can't get down all of the way. So I'm going to say you probably have about 100 feet of rope. And so you probably get down a couple of movements of the path. So you probably get down, I'll say about 100 feet, but you have about another 50 feet to go. So you could just walk the path, untie the rope, and make your way down the path. I'm going to have you make another roll on your dex to not die.
Let's 13.
Is 74 bad on 3 6-sided dice? Yes.
So if you guys are unfamiliar, the rolls, normally we don't really include a lot of the rolls auditorily for you guys. But the rolls are being done on a modified GURPS system. So the basic gist is I'm rolling 3 6-sided die. The best you can roll is 3. The worst you can roll is 18. And the lower numbers, obviously, since I'm saying 3 is the best, is the best you can get.
Yes.
Most of my skills are in the neighborhood of 10 to 14. So anything under that with modifiers, obviously. So if what I'm doing is a difficulty of it's a skill base at 12, but there's a difficulty of 6 because we're in a heightened circumstance, then I have to, roll better than 6 to get it.
Yeah. And something like this where the difficulty is probably not as bad as people would think. It's probably a little bit of a bonus to your difficulty because you have a whole bunch of stuff to hold on to. You're not in a rush. So it's not really hard for you to get down there, but there is a chance you could slip.
I'm accustomed to being sneaky.
You're accustomed to being sneaky, so this is not a hard tell when you're not being rushed.
Yeah, when the arrows start flying is when it's going to be problematic.
Yes, that's when the difficulty goes up a little bit.
But then again, if I'm like 300 feet up, like that's going to be a hard shot.
Shooting up 300 feet would be a really hard shot, but you're only going to be 200 feet up. But that's still
a hard shot. At night,
you have the high ground, and they probably couldn't see you from the base.
Yeah.
Except for the big spotlight. Did I say they have one of those?
Spotlight? What? Oh yeah, there's like 4 mages down there.
Yeah, and they always keep it focused right on the exit of that tomb.
Yeah, they want to make sure the king's got light. So
even though they don't care about him at all, they still protect that one tomb besides all of their stuff.
Okay.
So like I said, the good news is they're really guarding the base, so they don't really care much about what happens. But grave robbing's typically considered kind of disgusting, and they might not like that. So you kind of get down to this sort of area where it's this sort of beautiful carved stone with a bit of a inlet that goes into it, and there's sort of moss and grass that has sort of grown all over it. It's probably no higher than about 4 feet, and there's a doorway that kind of passes through, and through there is where the thing is. The problem is it's pitch black in there.
Well, I was going to say, I want to get in a little ways before I light a torch.
Okay.
So, and I don't want to like make a big torch. I like small amount of light, like a little more than a candle. Mm-hmm. Actually,
so like a toothpick with like a little piece of cloth on top of it instead of a full torch.
That might actually candle light would probably be enough in this scenario, but at the same time, there's traps. So I want to go like flashlight level.
Well, you might probably know that if you have something behind a candle, you can sort of force the light out in one direction and not behind you. Yeah. So we'll say you have
some kind of
very crude
lantern shield.
Yep. And it's probably not candle, but it's probably some sort of burning thing in there. And so you light it up with you fail at your flint skills, so it explodes.
You go flying out the cliff face. I rolled a 13 to light it. So
okay, I don't think that's really that hard of a difficulty.
I wouldn't think so, but I was going to say if you want me to fail it and take a little more time,
a modern character probably would have failed that skill, but a character who has to light stuff as part of their life,
exactly.
Yeah. So you kind of go in, and the lights sort of dance off.
And I am being extra careful. I'm taking my time. I have the time. I am being nitpicky slow about checking all the walls for traps and stuff because I have the time and because this is a king's tomb, I am taking the extra precaution.
Yeah.
That should lower the difficulty.
Yes, that's really what he's trying to say to me.
Yes.
I want to make this easy rolling as possible for me. So you sort of go up, and there's like the outer facing it's very mossed over rock. You could tell there's some stuff scratched into the rock, but you can't really make anything out between the light and the moss growing everywhere. But there's a very defined doorway. There's no door on the doorway, which is good.
I wouldn't have expected it to be so humid. That surprises me.
Well, it is right off the sea, so it depends on how the air blows, but there's plenty of moisture in the air.
That's true.
So you look around. There's no door.
Will you grant me some equipment in my bag? Like nothing crazy, just like I want at least a short stick so I can prod things. So like you're saying there's moss around the doorway, I want to try to scratch some of that and make sure there isn't like a trap hidden because of the moss, stuff like that.
You see no evidence of traps.
Okay.
But like I said, there's no door, which to you says there's probably nothing of value within this tomb.
Okay.
And so you slowly go in, and there's a small hallway. You have to actually lean down because you are too tall, and you assume the siren must have been shorter back then or something because this hallway is ridiculous. But you kind of go through for several feet, and it opens up into a secondary chamber, and you kind of put the candle out, and you kind of look around slowly, and you're moving around. The moss very quickly disappears because of the more dry as you go into the cave. And the rock is hard, so no water's leaking into it. And it smooths out lots of little square shapes with squiggly lines. You have no idea what the heck the designs mean. They look kind of cool, you guess. Some like pictures of like guys with swords, very crude. You would rate it a 4 out of a 10. If you were an art critic, you're not impressed by the art here.
I'm critiquing the cave drawings.
You're critiquing the cave drawings as you're going through looking. There does look like there had been a trap here. Okay. There is the remnant of some holes in one of the walls. But if there was ever something to tripwire it, or there's no sign of a pressure plate that you can see, there's no sign of a tripwire which exists, at least at this point. So it's either been set off before, or for whatever reason, it does not seem to work anymore. You don't know, but there's some definite holes in the sidewall of this chamber, but you've not found any tripwire that you know of.
Okay. Proceed. Cautiously. So the good news is, actually, when you go in the chambers, they're taller. You could stand up in the chambers, have a little bit of room over your head, and the next hallway is about your height. Mm-hmm. So as you start walking down that hallway, it opens up into yet a bigger chamber. And this chamber is probably too large for your light source, but you can kind of see at the hazy edge of the distance in front of you the first step of a stone dais, sort of, and sometimes the second step as the light sort of dances back and forth as it hypnotizes you. Save and roll.
Yes, you've been charmed by your lamp.
Well, no, there could be something over there that I'm setting off magically.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so again, cautiously proceed. I think I want to move along the wall, though. Like, just keep my eyes on, like, if I were going to trap something, people have to walk, so it's going to be set off by the floor, or it's going to be something anchored to the wall for leverage. I mean, possibly the ceiling, but even if it was in the ceiling, you got to set it off somehow, which more likely someone's going to be walking than,
Very good. So you sort of make your way over. It's probably only about 4 feet to the side of the chamber. It's not huge. This is by no means a pharaoh's buried tomb.
I just thought of something horrible. Keep going.
Okay. And you start making your way up the wall, pretty dry back into this chamber. And you start to see the throne starts to dance out. There is a figure sitting on the throne.
Oh, so there's an actual throne in here.
There's like it's not like a jeweled throne. It's a wooden.
But there's a seat.
There's a seat.
What I was terrified of is that I was going to get to a stone sarcophagus. I was like, well, how would they have gotten it in here? But then again, if it's the king, they'd go to the effort. So,
or they could have maybe just carved it straight out of the floor.
Well, right. Yeah. I'm thinking, well, if it's a sarcophagus, how the hell am I going to get it open?
Mm-hmm. No, and there is a figure sitting on there, very boned in, sort of some hair still coming down, but like no flesh left attached. Head is barely attached to the neck, and below him there are actually several bones, and like way too many. His skeleton's relatively intact, but there's like lots of bones near his feet, which seems ridiculous because his all appear to be attached. So there's a lot of extra bones here. Oh. And roll your eye.
These might be the bones of grave robbers.
Roll your IQ.
Looks pretty safe to me. I rolled 14, so not too good.
All right.
Now, Michael is thinking, yeah, these are probably bad thieves.
Well, your Mark can actually think that too. That is not what the IQ roll was for.
But whatever it was, I probably missed it.
But the interesting thing is with like the dancing light, though, it's almost like the head keeps tilting towards you a little bit more, but then it doesn't. But it's kind of the way the light plays off of it. You're feeling a bit uneasy. You just need one bone, though. I mean, how bad could it be?
God. Hey, look, it's a pile of bones. Let's get this over with.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Because you remember that episode. Okay. roll your dex. Just tell me what number you get.
7.
That's good. That's really
very good. And appropriate for the character.
Yes. And roll your IQ for me too.
Which is, I hope I get a good roll on this too, because normally he's a smart guy. 9 actually, so I got pretty good roll for that one too.
Okay. All right. And so, because something's about to happen, as you go up and you start to grab the bone, you hear a hard scrape above your head. Your first reaction is shit. And your second reaction is actually to get on top of the skeleton because it was intact. And as you do that, this iron cage bar lands down around you with some sort of slightly downward pointed spikes, which if you had not moved on top of there would have probably not really impaled you too much, but would have really hurt, as this heavy iron cage with, like I said, some pointy spikes on the inside land and appears to surround you.
But it didn't land on me.
It did not land on you, which would have probably hurt.
So, okay, wait a second. When you say cage, is this like a cage from the floor to the ceiling, like dropped down?
It dropped down from above.
Well, I understand that, but is it dropping so that it's like a wall/door, or did it drop like it's a big piece of flooring that would have flattened me?
No, it dropped like a cage. So it had iron bars around the side with spikes coming from them. It collapsed down from above you. So it's like think of a bell.
So I am now trapped from the entrance to the room to the. I'm trapped with a skeleton away from the entrance to the room.
But you're not crushed.
Well, thank God for that. Okay, so I'm trapped where the throne is.
Yes.
Okay, we'll deal with that.
You're surrounded.
We'll deal with that in a few minutes.
Roll your alertness for me one more time.
I so hope this skeleton is not going to start moving on me. 9, 10, 11.
Okay, you can hear some voices at the front of the crypt.
Like only 20, 30 feet away from me, like where I entered?
Yes, where you entered into this crypt.
Lovely. Okay, that changes my timetable. Grab a femur.
Good news is you have the femur. That part's easy. Skeleton does not come to life and eat you yet.
Okay. So grab a femur, jam it somewhere that's relatively hidden. Mm-hmm. If there's another leg, if there's a leg bone on the floor that I can put in its place so that and kind of make it look like it's, that way they don't see, hey, there's a big piece of his leg missing.
Just roll 3 and tell me what you get.
I got 11.
Okay.
So just place it. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but just so that it looks like he's not missing, like he's not missing parts. Exactly. I would love to take his skull, but they'd notice that is my
coming back. You think you hear the name Thormir being spoken, but you're not positive.
Is there any spot in here that I can hide? Like, is behind the throne? Is there anything that can hide me?
You could get behind the throne, and if they're blind, they won't be able to see you.
But if any inspection, they'll see me.
With any inspection, especially because of the spikes, there's just very little wiggle room.
Yeah. But on the plus side, I'm behind the spikes, so.
And you're behind the cage, but on the bad side is these people have full-fledged torches, and so as they're walking in, it's going to be lit up. So the good news is you can probably blow out your.
Well, of course I have to, but they're going to smell that too.
Actually, it probably went out as the thing collapsed down anyway.
So here's what I want to do: position myself behind the throne as best I can. Mm-hmm. If there is anything I can do, either with my stick or another piece of bone, or if depending on how he's sitting and how solid this thing is, if it's like armrest and I can get my hand in here, I want to position so that I could move the arm. Maybe I can scare them into thinking that something's up and Maybe they'll be as freaked out by being in the tomb as I am.
Okay, as they come in, they're speaking strange words that make no sense to you. Very.
And I wouldn't know.
You recognize it as Siren.
That's what I'm saying. I might not speak it, but
you don't speak it. You know a few words of it, like that you hear, but you don't even really know what they mean. But some of the words are familiar. You just don't know what they mean. But as they enter the main chamber, and the light starts to infuse the room, it sounds like one of them says Thoramir.
And this is a Siren tomb.
This is a Siren tomb.
Lovely,
correct.
Lovely. Okay. So
and this was originally Siren area that was conquered centuries ago by the Pedracum.
Okay, so I'm sitting tight for now. Like I got to play possum. I don't want them to know I'm here. If they know I'm here, that's going to make things worse.
And so you can hear their footsteps, and they seem to be going around, and you can see the one come along and go, there, right there.
In English?
In Bedrachum.
What?
But
in
the language you understand.
My point is that it's in my tongue. Well, obviously, I don't know what he's referring to because I can't see through the throne, so I'm still sitting tight.
Yeah. He's like, what are you doing here? Is the next thing that comes out in Bedrachum.
I'm still pretending that he can't see me. I'm hoping that there's something. He's talking to someone else.
He's talking to his friend that came in with him.
He's talking to the corpse, maybe.
And the other one says something in a language you can't understand again. And you go, and the other guy responds to him. And it's like, my friend just said, maybe he's dead, but the fact that you're not on the ground or impaled in some way tells us that you were actually not hit by the spike caged. Could you mind telling us what you're doing in our king's tomb and why we should not leave you there? Because you know what? We were told you were coming here.
I was paying my respects, but I know it's forbidden. Let's roll the silver tongue. That's a pretty good response. 14. Okay. Sounds like a bullshit answer.
Well, it's funny because the guy who told us you were going to be here said you were here to steal the bone of our king.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. But you're not stealing the bone from our king.
If I was going to steal anything, it certainly wouldn't be a bone.
Well,
I'm glad I tucked that other one away.
He says something in Siren to the other guy who responds to him. Like, it looks like you've not yet defaced the king.
I didn't come here to steal anything. Says the thief. Let me roll off of that one. Much more convincing. 10.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying someone said you were.
Who said I came here to steal anything?
This person from town, Thoramir. He's an unsavory character, I assure you, but we pay him to help protect what's ours.
Look, not that it's anybody's business, but Thoramir doesn't like me. And whenever I do anything, business or pleasure or worship, he tries to make my life difficult. If you knew that beforehand, you'd understand that his word against me can't be trusted.
That might be true, which is why we're not going to leave you there to die.
I really appreciate that.
Since you've not touched the king, we'll let you out. We want to search you to make sure you've not stolen any bones.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, very good.
I assume that you'll grant me that I have been able to tuck this thing in a fashion.
You've tucked it in well, and I'm sure you'd prefer them to open the cage for you and deal with whatever comes next rather than have them leave you in the cage anyway. So,
well, right, yeah, getting out of the cage was going to be...
It's probably the biggest priority here.
Yeah, that was going to be difficult. And
I'm tugging on the rope that isn't long enough.
Yeah.
Wait, don't pull!
part of me is thinking, just so that like the audience gets an idea of the character and so that you understand where I'm at. Part of me is thinking, because he's quick, he's not a very big guy, he's only like 18, 19 years old. And being a quick thief is important. I'm thinking, can he get to the front of the tomb without being grabbed, so that when they do chase him, he can throw them off the cliff? He can just like stick his leg out, trip him out the door, and like toss him off the cliff.
You probably would not try and toss him off the cliff.
I'm not,
but you would probably respect yourself in the ability that if you get out of this cage and in front of here without them holding on to you, that you can slip out easy.
That's what
you have the confidence, and I believe you have a disadvantage that would disallow you to leave the bone behind anyway.
That's true. Here is, and I wanted to do this, but we were talking about other things. I was going to ask you as soon as the cage came down, but because you brought them into the mix, that changed my timetable. I wonder if I can do it right now while they're starting to lift the cage. Do I see the triggering mechanism of the cage device? Like something activated the cage to drop. So do I see anything? Because they've got full torches, so the lighting's better.
You cannot see anything. The only thing that changed was the overall weight of the dais when you stepped on it. So maybe the dais itself is actually the trap. So there's the stone dais with the step up. So your guess is that when you stood on that, it changed the weight enough to tell the trap to come.
Okay. Problem is that these guys probably know who I am now.
Well, they're going to know you when they see your face. And the question is, one, do they recognize you?
Okay. Well, okay. So this is my plan so that you know, and I'm going to wait for the opportunity. I assume that they will need to lift this up manually to reseat the cage.
Mm-hmm.
In that process, maybe I'll go, here, let me help. As soon as I have an opportunity as it gets lifted into position, if I can step beyond the cage so that I'm not trapped by the dais, push one of them to the dais and bolt.
Okay.
That is if the opportunity presents itself. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to think on my feet. For the record, I rolled a 10.
Okay. That's in detecting your opportunities, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So as it starts going up, you're actually start pushing up on the spikes as well because they're not that hard to reach. And as it goes over, you start slipping around to the side. Next to one of them, there's one on each corner. This is very heavy for the two of them to lift. They're struggling with it.
Could I just run right now?
You probably could just run right now. They would have to drop it to chase after you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, without one of them on the other side of the cage, they would have no reason not to drop it, which is why I want to get one of them on that side. Because that also improves my odds of getting away.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you wait, and I'm going to say you actually have an opportunity here because of the way you've wiggled out of this. That one guy, you could probably...
Yeah, well, I'm not looking to throw a person. I'm just looking to shove a little. That's not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you kind of push the guy. He responds, and he kind of slips in, but not very far. Roll your strength to let me know how far you pushed him.
7.
Okay, so you actually push him in. He pushes into the throne. The other guy goes, the throne goes sink, smashes one of the spikes, smashes that guy on the back. And you hear him scream, and you start bolting out the door.
Gone. I am gone.
The other guy swings his fist at you and punches into the...
I was about to say, I rolled an 8, so I dodge like Spider-Man.
Well, as he swings around, he punches the actual iron cage when he misses you.
So the guy I pushed swung around instinctively, not thinking of the cage.
The guy you pushed, he slipped and fell in.
Okay.
The cage crushed his back. He's probably, if not dead, going to die.
Yeah.
The other guy lunges at you and takes a big roundhouse swing, misses you clearly, like to the point where you don't even feel like you need to dodge, smashes his fist into the iron cage, screams out.
Yeah, probably broke most of the bones in his hand.
And because he rolled a 17. And yeah.
Critical failure, folks. Critical
failure. And you skedaddle out the door. Now, you have a choice where you can go up the path or down the path. The path is back the way.
Yeah, up the path is going to be harder, but there's a bigger advantage. I've got the height advantage. The other two are probably going to try to help each other. It's more important. And they still think that I didn't mess with the king other than searching me for confirmation. Yes. So let's get the hell out of here.
So you start moving up at a slightly elevated pace, but not running at this point.
Yeah, quick.
And you can hear one of the guys calling out to his friend. You think it sounds like he's staying back in the cave. So you very much moderate your speed moving out, and you make your way slowly. Just make a quick dex roll and don't critically fail, and you'll be fine.
5.
So
I am a ninja.
You do an anime sort of leap onto a tomb, jump up 3 or 4 things to the top while Gregor's holding the rope going, where'd you come from? No, you make your way
already up to the top of the cliff?
No, I'm joking. You with ease make it back up to where the rope is. You tie it on, give it 3 yanks, which is the signal to pull.
Yeah. And I'm also helping.
You're climbing.
Yeah, I'm climbing too. Like he can't just pull me up.
Yep. And it's wrapped up against the tree, so the rope won't give out. And so it takes a little while. You get back up to the top, and he's like, "Excellent."
Not excellent. We have to get out of here right now.
Let's go.
Thoromir sold us out. I don't know how he
really.
Knew. I don't know how he knew we were here, but they came here knowing that I'd be here on Thoromir's say-so. Now, I did some fast talking, but I also did some quick moving too. One of them's probably going to die, and the other one's having a bad day. I don't know how good of a look at me they got, but we got to leave now.
And as you start moving away, he's like, quick question. You have no idea how Thoromir knows, and we don't know what he knows.
That was a statement, not a question.
As you guys are moving back, this is a conversation as you're going back to town. So you guys are moving along the way, but he actually asked you that.
Let's say we've talked to Mother, we've talked to Bruno. Who's our guy on the inside? The guy who doesn't like Gregor.
Him, yes.
What's his name? I don't remember his name.
You asshole.
You don't remember his name either. Okay. Well, hang on. I think I have it right here. Actually, give me a second. Sinan.
Sinan, that's it. Yeah.
All right. Look, we talked to Bruno. We talked to Sinan. We talked to Mother, and aside to Mother's men, nobody else. Actually, Mother's men didn't even know we were coming here. The only people that really know we were coming here is Bruno. Sinan didn't know. Mm-hmm. Bruno's the only one that knew that we needed a bone. So it's got to be
who knew this?
Coming from Bruno.
Okay. Here's the problem. He might know something else like the axe. We have to get that axe.
Well, we don't have it. That's right.
We need to go to the axe now.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have to understand that this might go ugly. So be prepared.
Yeah, no, it's ugly now. It's ugly now.
We're both walking.
What does he mean by that? Like walking away from the job or walking away from the city?
Or we both didn't have a big giant iron cage fall on us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're still
a little sick sense of humor there.
Yeah. Any day above dirt is a good one.
So you guys make it back, get into town. No further incidents happen along the way, and as you come in through the grain gate, which is the easy way in, and they're not going to stop you at the gate. I mean, you might get shook down if you have goods.
Give me some conversation with Gregor on the walk back, because we have a little bit of time there.
Yep.
Look, the problem here is that if Bruno sold us out, we still don't have the means to steal the jewels without his help. And this bone is useless if he sold us out.
Bruno is not the kind of guy who would have sold us out intentionally.
I wouldn't think so either. So how... Oh, you think that Thoromir found this information out without Bruno's knowledge?
Yes, and I don't know how much else he knows. So he might even know that we're going for his axe. In which case, we need to get the axe sooner tonight, as he thinks we're in trouble at the crypt.
I agree.
If we wait till tomorrow, he'll know that we got away from the crypt, and he'll be waiting for us even harder.
I agree, but at the same time, it also ups our timetable to
everything.
Everything.
Well, yes.
I agree.
But the thing is, once we have the axe, we have everything.
Do we? I was going to say we should drop the bone off first, but I agree with you.
We should drop the bone off first, but yeah.
If we get Thoromir out of the way, I think that eases back our time. That Bruno's going to need a couple days with the bone anyway. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
So
a couple hours aren't going to matter.
I don't think so. I think our focus needs to be on the axe. I think you're right.
Okay, let's go for the axe.
Yeah, super sneaky time.
So you guys go through the gate. Roll your intelligence to see if you feel like there's something up at the gate.
12.
Gate's really quiet, actually.
I love it. Yeah, looks clear. Everything's good.
There's actually a lot less people here than normal. Actually, you don't even see any of Thoromir's guys at the gate.
Well, it's also the middle of the night,
just
right?
the guards.
I mean, it's nighttime.
Yes.
And
typically people don't travel at night.
Exactly.
There's usually one person not too far away because they don't want to let anyone slip in without trying to extort them.
Well, we're still gonna ninja in if we can. Like at this
the good
point,
thing is
anything we do in town has to be sneaky because any one of Thoromir's guys, he's got close to 30 guys, could ruin this. So
yes, could make you have a bad day.
Exactly.
Let's see. The good news is you're not that far from Butcher's Lane because Butcher's Lane is right near the grain gate.
I'm rolling stealth. 8 to 11.
So both of you guys have gone sneaky, and you're not being like ninja because it's just but you're sort of walking in places that it's less likely to be seen, kind of sneaky.
Here,
yeah, and taking your moment when you get to the corner, you kind of do a quick eyeball kind of around the corner. You think the full gang might be in the alley right now. There's just his guys are all over Butcher's Lane.
Okay, can we circumvent this area? Our goal is to get to his hideout to take his axe, right? That's what we're shooting for.
Yes, and his hideout is in this lane.
Okay.
No, this lane, you would have no need to go here because this is it's the trick road to try and lure in invaders down the street to slaughter them from the rooftops. Right. So there would be no reason to go here except to get to his hideout. And his guys are all over. They're on balconies. Mm-hmm. They are all over the street. You're not going down the street without being seen.
Yeah, we are. Gregor, do you have any qualms with any of the shop owners down here?
Not that I know of.
No, that's too bad because we need to light a fire. They pay for protection. What's worse than a fire for a merchant? So we're going to, if we have to sneak into a corner, whatever, my goal is to light a fire, cause a small panic, get their attention while we slip some other way around the neighborhood to get to his place. My thought is, since he has protection rackets, that they're going to have to help put out the fire.
Oh, of course. No, let's go.
Maybe 2 fires. We'll see how good the first one goes.
Well, it's that shop there, and he points it kind of across the street the other way. If we can get to that shop and in. Okay. He's so what we'll do is that shop over there is the furthest away from the headquarters that's easy to get to. If we can get across the street and get into there, the butcher should be out for the night. We'll just slip upstairs and light a fire upstairs because the butchers, the bottom floors are all stone, but the upper floors are wood.
Of course.
So
and the upper floor is going to have more time to... All right, so sneaking across the street, I rolled an 8. Ninja!
Okay.
Gregor rolled a 16.
he falls into you. In the middle of the street, you guys are like, hi.
Hi, guys. One at a time, Gregor. I said don't follow me so closely.
Actually, you lose track of Gregor as he disappears. He throws a smoke grenade.
I was going to say he smoke bombs, he Batman's out.
That's right, and just disappears.
You rolled an 8. He rolled a 4.
And you make it across the street. Basically, the door is latched from the inside.
13 to open this door.
So you kind of put your shoulder into it, and you feel Gregor's shoulder behind you push up against the door. And the good thing is these doors are all kind of cheap, so it kind of pushes in. You can get a good half-inch opening. You slip a dagger up in there, and you both kind of pop the latch and get in. And let's just roll. Okay. And it's downstairs. There's blood caked all over the walls and bones and flesh, blood all over down here. It's wonderful. The guy doesn't seem to clean very well.
If Gregor knew what I know, I'd be going for the bacon fat. I'd be going for the pig fat because that stuff burns great.
Yes. And you guys probably aren't stupid. So you know that the fat in general is going to help expedite a fire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, tell you what, I'll do a quick intelligence roll off of that. 10. So,
okay.
Not bad.
Gregor places his hand on your shoulder. He's like, I'm going to start working back towards his headquarters. Be ready for anything to go wrong, but you start this fire, and when you do, I'm going to start making my move.
Okay. Do you want me to get over there too, or do you just want me to meet you back at?
Come over there too, just in case. And so you basically go start scooping up. There's fat bits all over here. You probably can shave some.
I don't want to get my hands all cruddy. I'm going to need my hands clean. So
okay.
So if I need to take like a cloth and just scoop some up, or a shovel or a tool or something.
And there's probably a lot of the cloths down here are soaked in the fat too, so it'll help expedite the fire. You kind of go upstairs, and the second floor of the shop is the living area, but it's made out of wood. So you roll your stealth up here.
13.
You hear loud snoring from one of the rooms upstairs. There's like 2 rooms upstairs.
Great. I'm still committed to this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not happy about it, but I'm committed to it. Because at this point, it's a matter of my life or death.
Mm-hmm. Now it's going ugly.
Yeah.
So you go and you start placing the fat essentially around. You sort of grab some light stuff and you... I'm just going to roll.
Yeah. Light it in a few different like 3 places that are kind of far apart. Mm-hmm. The first one I want to light, I want to be more towards the center of the building because I don't want the light from the fire on the outer areas of the building to alert people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to build up a little bit before people catch it.
Exactly. I want it to build up. But I also want multiple places so that hopefully it'll catch and it'll be harder to put out. But I want you to know that I'm also thinking escape plan. That's like first. I need to know how I'm getting out safely before I light this stuff. I don't want to burn myself.
Probably the best thing to do would be go right back down the stairs and right out that door.
Okay.
Gregor shut the door behind you, but it's not latched. And if it was latched, it's much easier to unlatch from the inside. So you go and you plant some, like I said, there's like a little hall. The room at the end overlooking the street is where the guy's asleep at. There's another back room with some supplies in there, some of which is grain. And so like in the front corner, you plant some of the muck and you start lighting it, and it catches, and you go in and light 2 more. Actually, you probably do that one last because that's by the door. So you light one on the inside, and the nice thing is like this is further back from the street. So
I don't want to light it in a fashion that this guy is totally trapped once it catches. So like do it past his door so that he.
Well, worst case, he has a window. I know, overlooking the street.
My point is, I'm trying not to kill a person, if
of course,
possible. And also, we're pushing it on time. So as soon as this fire gets going and I exit the house, I think we stop there.
Okay, very good. So you light, and you come out around and bust out onto the street. Baha! Oh wait, you probably don't say Baha.
Oh, so everything goes smoothly.
Everything
inside.
goes very smoothly, like nothing's going wrong.
Well, I just rolled a 7. Can we call that my stealth to get to Gregor?
That's your stealth to get to Gregor. And actually, it appears the fire lit really well. It's like something in that grain must have really helped spur it up, and it starts to catch pretty quickly onto the roof of the house.
Okay, cool.
And you all of a sudden start hearing people yell, "Alarm! Alarm!" and people rushing around and people screaming and teeth gnashing. And a lot of the gang members start rushing over, and you start seeing a pale brigade start to work up as you slyly move down the shadows across the street towards where Gregor is. And that's where we will end for the day. Thank you so much for listening to the World Builders Anvil.
We would love it if you would share the World Builders Anvil with 2 of your friends.
And so would they.
If they are unfamiliar with podcasts, then you get to introduce them to the wonderful world of podcasting.
Take them to Stitcher or iTunes, or best of all, just send them to our website, www.gardul.com.
That's GARDUL.com.
Now strike while the mithril's hot.